One element that for me is very important, though, is we should humanize technology. We should not dehumanize humans through technology.
Welcome, Andrea, to WUF. Can you present your works, please?
Thank you, everyone. I'm Andrea. I'm an artist. I've been in the digital art space since the early days. I'm now experimenting with both digital and physical art. I use technology in my works as a means to express the human soul by some extent, and also, of course, to express myself.
Okay, and can you speak about the works on which are you working now?
Now I'm working on a few projects. Let's say the first one is around the physical works. So I'm taking, let's say, snapshots of my life in my own language, and you can see them, I mean, all here. They're like the building blocks of who I am by some extent. And those are, as I said, my letters, you know, it's like it's my language, it's my alphabet, it's the way I express myself. I like to connect that with words, because I think it's important to have cross-pollination between different art forms, like, you know, narrative poetry, visual art, music. I think it's, in the end, part of the same thing. And then as well, what you see here in the back is a major project that I'm working on. It's called Untitled. We presented it in New York a few months ago. And I'll try to explain it in simple terms.
Yep.
Let's see if I succeed in doing that. You should think about Untitled as a way to connect with people, first of all. So I express my own language through my works, my physical works that you see there. And I'm asking people, please express your own language. Tell me, who are you? Interact with this installation that you see here. The colored part here at the center is an interactive screen that you can actually touch, and you can interact, draw, write, do whatever you want. And then all the interactions of the public with the installation are then recorded by the AI that we built as part of this project, that will then standardize the new language. So like it's like a glue that is bringing together all the different subjectivity of people, and then tries to deliver an harmonious message and an harmonious language. And what you're planning to do is to go all over the world and interact with people from different cities, backgrounds, and then see, you know, how technology can really serve, as I say, to bring people together, allow them to find the common ground, and create a brand new language, because in the end, art is a brand new language.
Okay, and you think this is very important for the future of the humankind to find new ways to communicate? Art can help in this direction?
I think for sure it's important to find new ways to communicate. As you can see, like from what's happening right now, you know, around the world, it's definitely important for human beings to interact in a positive way, you know, with each other. Art, you know, is a word that means many things.
Absolutely.
But definitely the way I see it is art is a tool, a means to an end to interact with people. Like personally, I went through two phases, let's say. In the first phase, art for me was an introspective exercise, almost a therapeutic element, where I had, you know, some issues with myself that I wanted to solve, and art was a way to put everything out and feel better. And I think that's art, like it's very important. But then the step two is to use all that, you know, energy to reveal yourself to other people, and maybe they'll also reveal themselves to yourselves for who they are. And then you start feeling a certain energy, and you start seeing that you know, you're not just selling art, packaging a product. You're actually creating something unique that is authentic, and people can feel it, and that's why they engage with it. And I think overall, everything that has a meaning in society has that level of energy.
Mm-hmm. And how can new technologies help in this, like artificial intelligence? And so which relationship do you have with the new technologies?
I think new technologies are very important. Technologies like AI, blockchain are reshaping the world as a whole beyond art. So we are at the cusp of a new paradigm, and we're already seeing AI, how quickly it's developing. Like, it's crazy that the first time I used AI in a work was back in 2021 with my work with Sophia, and how much has been done since then, and how quickly now it's actually developing. So it's a technology that is changing our lives, and as a result, is also impacting art, because it's impacting everything, including art. So one element that for me is very important, though, is we should humanize technology. We should not dehumanize humans through technology. That's a very important point, meaning that for me, technology is, as you see, a tool to explain, by some extent, or attempt to explain the human soul, like bring people closer together. It's not just something that I use to process a lot of data that then is delivering a certain output that looks good. I don't particularly care whether it looks good or not. I care whether people can see it and connect with it in a subconscious way, and then they come back home and they're like, okay, but I don't know. There was something about that. I don't know what, but there is a connection. For me, for instance, to take like an artist as an example that gives me that feeling is Mark Rothko. Like, when you see his works, at least, for myself, I can see that there is something, true in it.
Okay, and your works are very impacting on an aesthetic level. And what is your relationship with aesthetic?
That's an interesting question. I think they are impacting at an aesthetic level in a sort of unconscious way for me, in the sense, it's like you're not responsible for who you are. People are very different. So when you really destroy the ego component and you're left with like a desert and you can just be yourself, what comes out comes out. You have no control over it. And in my case, for instance, you see that definitely colors are important. Certain characters are coming over and over again, and certain words as well are coming. And then when you see them, you're like, they're impactful, but more than impactful, I would say they are mine. Is something that you look at it and you see that is a work which is authentic, that I do because that's who I am, by some extent. And then, this is maybe just one element, of who I am, but for sure is a building block of my own being. They're impactful, I don't know what I can do about that.
But do you think that the aesthetic aspect of a work can have a different reception into the market?
For sure, the aesthetic aspect has an impact, because we are human beings and we use, the visual element to go through life. So it's definitely important. But for me, the decorative element of a work is not important. I care about the conceptual dimension. So the connection with a deeper philosophical message. So the way you should see my works, and this is often very misunderstood about what I do, they're like doors. You can stop at the door and say, oh, that door is very nice, look, here's that color, that other color, that very cute door, and then boom, you leave. You're free to do that. I have no problem with that. Or you take the handle, you open the door, and you go in, and then you find many, many rooms. It's like here at Art Basel, you enter and it's like a maze. There are many, many things. And I think that's a good analogy for what I do.
Okay, perfect. And more in general, what is your relationship with the market, with the art market?
I think that the art market is important because we should be pragmatic. In today's world is what brings certain works inside or outside history of art. It's like a proxy. to how interesting something is for the broader public. It would be nice if I could tell you the market doesn't matter and who cares about the market and it's just important the me as an artist and all that narrative, but it would be false. It won't be true. Like so, I basically understood very clearly this element. It's very important. There is a set which is called art, and there are many artists that are unknown. They have no market, but they are no less artists than I am. They're even better than me, many of them for sure. Then there is another set, which is art that is recognized by the market. And in that set, there is even something that I don't think is true art. It's just a product. It's just packaged well and then shipped and is successful. Now, what you need to analyze is the intersection between these two sets. So when you have art that is authentic and also as a market, then it goes in the history books, of history of art. I mentioned Rothko, the Kandinsky, Matisse, like artists that for me are very important, like Van Gogh, that had an impact on the work that I've done. I think through time they managed to live in that intersection.
Okay, and what is the space of freedom between artistic creation, artistic research, and the market? Can the market influence the artistic freedom? What do you think?
Let's say it shouldn't. Okay. Ideally, it shouldn't. But the reality is that, as I mentioned, there are in every artist's life two phases, I think. One before, like everyone cares about what you do, and one after people start looking at what you do. It does have an impact, that transition for sure. The tricky part is to remain coherent to who you are in that process. And I think that if you do things properly and you are very aware as an individual, you can remain coherent to yourself and then, living as an artist, which means being free for me. For me, it was very important to be free, to do whatever you want with your life and express yourself. And people, it's a very privileged position, and I'm aware of that, to basically do what you want, and then people care about that. Many times people, they just don't care. So yeah, but for me, like, it's a key element, you see. That my background is also in finance back in the day, so if I basically wanted to keep selling a product, I would rather keep selling financial product. See what I mean? Like, if you then go into art, in my case, it's because you really want to express yourself, so I'm not compromising on the authenticity of my work. I prefer not to sell something, but then, sell things that are representative of me. When I say sell, I mean to give that proxy that then allows for people to see what I do and so connect with me. Okay. Because they wouldn't otherwise. That's the reality of the capitalistic market we live in.
Okay, and which relationship do you have with utopia? Because I think there is many connection between these, between your works and your philosophy about art and art market, about better place where people are better connected, are more aware of their relationship, and they are also quite independent from market. So
that's a very interesting question. Let's say myself in different phases of my life would have answered in a different way. And I'm still in the process, of course, as with all the questions that I gave to you, changing my view on things, like trying at least to improve. But right now, what I would say is that I'm not interested in anything that is not utopistic, okay. But I'm a realistic, utopistic person. Okay. So I bring reality and utopia together, in the sense that you need to understand, where you want to go. So let's say the meaning for me of art is to seek objective truth. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate goal. Then I'm saying that by being an individual, being a subject. So I cannot do that because I'm an individual, right? But the reason why I'm bringing people into my works and I try to create the framework for them to interact in the most authentic way through technologies, because I'm not able to do it myself, but if all the world is able to engage with what I do in an authentic way, and they reveal that element of truth that subjectively lies within them, then we have a more objective way than before, So you always as you used to say, you shoot for the moon and then you land into the stars. It's something like that. So you look at a very ambitious goal, but then you realize you are aware of what are the limitations, but nevertheless, you keep pushing because you are aware that in the end, you are insignificant. You just need to draw a path and to walk that path in an authentic way throughout your life. And then, when you're dead, someone else will come, will look at what you did, like, okay, maybe, I start from here, and then I go even further, but so at least you save them some time.
Okay, and one last question about the necessity of art for you. What do you think? Do you had another path in your life in finance and so, but after you decide to go in art field, and so what is for you necessity of doing art?
In my opinion, it's not something positive or negative. It's just a natural inclination and somehow like natural diversity that you have. People are different on many levels. You like certain kinds of food, certain kinds of music. Like there are many differences, and for me, this was an element that was a building block. I could not avoid doing it, and I've tried many times not to do it. Like I many times repressed that, and I said, "Come on, like it's pointless. You shouldn't do it." But then, even though there were days that I was really convinced that I would not do anything, more than having, let's say, art as an hobby, then it came back, and it came back, until the point where I'm like, look, you have to do it. You need to declare yourself to the world that you have to do that. And so it was something that it happened because I couldn't stop it. More something that I wanted.
And how do you think the place where you started to do art influenced your choice to experimenting this thing like an artist? Do you think it's more individual or related with your environment?
Well, I would define the individual as someone related to the environment. So it is individual because it is interconnected with all that is around you. Even the conversation that we are having now is somehow now is adding to who I am. So the environment is fundamental. Like for me, I was raised in like Tuscany, then I went to London, now I'm back to Tuscany. I have a very strong connection with certain locations and certain smells, certain the way of, the light, how it goes in a certain direction, like in certain place, sunset, there are certain elements that are very subtle, but for me, they are very important. And so in the end, they define who I am and what I do. It cannot happen in a vacuum. Like nothing, I think, happens in a vacuum. You need to have, of course, a process where you go in, you go out, you go in, you go out. So, you are open to the world. Then there are periods, for me this happens often, that I really don't want to have many, relationships with people and stuff. Like I want to focus on something. Then I'm more open towards, the environment around me. But this dance, keeps going. So the individual is the product of the experiences he had, throughout his life, and the environment experience as well.
Okay, and how would these elements go inside your work?
They go inside my work because I think the work of every artist is an autobiography, is a self-portrait. If I could, define what I do, I could also say that I never moved from a self-portrait. They're all self-portraits done in different ways. Even when I'm portraying other people, I'm portraying myself. I'm portraying how I see these people, so how my eyes are seeing these people. So you see, the other side of the coin is still a self-portrait, so it's all part of that.
Okay.
Everything in the end, is the same thing with the different declinations all over. And even if you think about Untitled, is again bringing that element of myself being all the interaction that I have with all the people I met throughout my life into a work of art, defining, their own language. It's like the utopistic version of saying, what if all the people you met in your life engage with you for who they truly were?
Very interesting.
Rather than, a pose, because, life is mostly a pose of people like pretending to care about things they don't care, or to have, a certain attitude, and then they come back and they think something completely different. Like, normal life, people don't mean what they say. Never. Like, it would be a jungle if people really started talking, with what they truly think, how the, thoughts come to their mind. But I'm like, you asked me about, the utopistic dimension of my work. What if, like, conceptually, we have that word and we bring people in a situation that is not competitive, is like calm, like no one is gonna kill you, no one is gonna like steal stuff from you. We are friendly, but what do you want? Like, what's your issue?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And last question, very last. What do you think are the biggest challenges for your work in the future?
Challenges?
Yes.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm already in a position where I feel very privileged and lucky. I already, I think, achieved more than I expected. It's not true, to be honest. So it would be false if I tell you that. But more than, let's say, I could ask for, in the sense that I really don't need much. So challenges, I'll just, keep being coherent with myself and bringing my vision in a way that is clear, aware, and challenges is mostly about me as an individual, to remain in that state of mind that allows you to create. But then external challenges, apart from nuclear wars and things like that, I don't see them.
Okay. And there is some aspect of your work that we didn't mention that for you are important a lot.
Many things, but we have to stop at some point.
Okay, yes. Okay.